Thanks, man. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I got some vitamin D today. I went for a run, I think I was feeling like overwhelmed. So,
I just canceled one of my appointments and I went out in the sun for an hour, and it was transformative.
yeah, it's interesting. I think we forget that we're supposed to be plants like that,
Yeah.
Or that we're part, because are humans part plants too, do you think?
No. Although the microbiome has a lot of plants, and I guess it's part of our body, and it's a plant, I suppose. But we are definitely we're a zoonotic species rather than a plant species.
Dang. Yeah, sometimes I guess I feel like a plant. Or I don't know, if I sit by a window, I feel good. If somebody comes up and smells me, if I smell good, I feel good, I guess. So that's kind of like a flower, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Good to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah.
Came back up on YouTube.
One of the episodes that had been taken down came back up on YouTube. I mean, it had been gone, Bobby. It had been gone. And then it just showed back up.
That's weird. Well, we sued them. And I doubt if that's the reason. Because
Sued YouTube?
Yeah, they're still taking our stuff down.
Wow, good for you. That's cool when you're a lawyer, because then you can sue somebody if you need to. That's a great idea.
You guys actually made a wager whether or not that episode would be taken down. RFK, he said it would be, and Theo bet him that it wouldn't.
Oh, dang. How much was it for?
Yeah, how much was that for?
We have the clip. One sec.
All right, it's going to get interesting. We'll see if anybody's getting paid this week right here, brother. God, this could be bad. Well, whatever it is, Bobby, we'll donate it to your campaign, okay? For you, Bobby, that's right.
Is this live?
This is not live. None of this is live, and this question isn't live. This is all
because I want to make sure you have an option of not playing this podcast.
video. No, I don't. I think we're okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely curious, and I think
I'm worried about your career, Theo. That's why.
Oh, thanks. Well, I feel like I own my own career until, I don't need a Hollywood career, but it's definitely, I worry about, my career of, I guess, maybe, YouTube canceling us or people saying that we can't do this anymore,
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Is this on YouTube?
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. So, but our last one stayed up.
Okay, well, let's make a bet. I'll bet you $5.
Well, inflation's happened a lot. Let's make it 10.
We were ahead of the
Good
curve.
question right here from somebody that came in.
Do you consider yourself a conspiracy theorist?
No. But I consider myself open to curiosity. I think, I consider myself open to curiosity. I think it would be silly not to listen to possibility. And I think sometimes it's the curious guy who at first people are like, this guy's bananas, who ends up being Bananas Foster, which is good if you've had it or not.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
good.
one of my
I'll say that.
favorites.
Dude, I used to work at this restaurant, and one of my coworkers, he's like, man, I hate seeing Bananas Foster on the menu because I was raised in a foster home, and it makes me sad. Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, yeah.
Just to equate Bananas Foster and being raised in a foster home. But I was like, but I bet he still had some every now and then, and I think it made him feel pretty good. But yeah.
The decision kind of has to be made by October 15th because
That's soon.
Yeah, because
You'll know before Halloween.
Yeah, the October 15th, you have to start qualifying in certain states so that you have to declare whether you're a Democrat or an independent or Republican.
Yeah.
And you can't, a lot of people think, well, you can run as a Democrat, and then if you lose everything, then you can just switch to independent and run on independent, but you can't do that. Because a lot of states have sore loser laws that make it so that you have to choose early, and you can't come in, once you've chosen Democrat, you can't switch to independent.
That's fair, because every year they let Odell Beckham Jr. join another team right before the Super Bowl.
And I feel like it doesn't seem fair to anybody.
I get that he's good, but it doesn't seem that fair. So when do you have to? But you've already chosen that you're a Democrat, right? I mean, you've been a lifelong Democrat. Is there a chance that you would run as an independent? Do you look at that ever? And how do you even evaluate that?
Yeah, I mean, if they really shut down the process, we're right now, we're grappling with the DNC, trying to get them to do the right thing. But if they rig the process so that I can't possibly win, which is how it's rigged right now, then I would have to look at other options. I would have to look at running as, maybe outside of the party or something. I don't know exactly what I do. I'm hoping that they'll open up the process and let me run. We polled this week, and if President Biden steps down, I have a pretty clear path to the nomination. My numbers are better than any other Democrats, including the Vice President Kamala Harris. And then if he stays in and they give me a fair fight, I think I can beat him.
Yeah.
So
wow. So it's tough to figure out. You're just navigating the space, huh? Who's ahead in the national polls?
He beats me among Democrats in the national polls.
No, but if you could get a third of people to switch that were Republicans and a
well,
third
if I
that were
got
Democrats,
that's the thing, is that those polls aren't looking at the Republicans who want to vote for me or the independents.
Some people say that that the Republican Party set you up to take. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I hear that I'm like a stalking horse for Trump, and all I can say is,
I don't believe that, Bobby. I'm just asking you. I don't believe that.
Well, you should ask me. I mean, you shouldn't do it publicly like you just did. But
really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
No, you should ask me.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem with that. First of all, if the Democrats make rules that say I cannot win, and then they complain about me running somewhere else, it's like it's like a guy who murders his parents and then throws himself on the mercy of the court because he's an orphan.
Yeah.
They're trying to get public sympathy for a problem that they created.
I hate when I see Bananas Foster on the menu. That's how it goes. But no, I see what you're saying. It's almost like they're playing two cards that are trying to do two different things, but one of them kind of concedes that there's some truth in the other one.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that I take more votes from President Trump than I do from President Biden.
Right. So why would that help them?
Yeah, it's not helping them.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that.
Ulysses Grant, who did a lot of the killing, hand to hand, he had the same thing. He never lost his temper. The only time that he was ever seen to lose his temper was when he saw a man beating a horse.
Some real animal lovers. Hooker, there was a Colonel Hooker.
Yeah, General.
General Hooker. Yeah. That's how they got the term hookers, because he brought ladies in.
Oh, really?
To spend time with his troops.
You know a lot of history, of interesting history.
I don't know about that, but I know about hookers, buddy. I mean, unfortunately. and cats, yeah.
Interesting.
You feel like a desperado in this campaign. I mean, one thing that I thought about was interesting about you is that nobody was in your pocket because nobody was getting on board with you. It seemed like there's no choice. No. Like there's nothing that's like, this guy is what he is, he's not working for anybody. That's what it always was like. That's the most admirable thing to me about anything these days is like, I just want somebody who's not part of the status quo, because the status quo feels very dangerous, or the system feels dangerous,
Yeah.
Does that make sense or not?
Yeah, and I don't know. I think, my campaign, the way it came together, it feels, I don't know. It just feels like there's some, all the people who are involved in it are people who are, on some kind of a spiritual quest, and it's really interesting because they came from all, different. But, there was early on in my campaign, we didn't have any money because most people who start a campaign they're senators, governors, they've been in politics before.
Right.
So they have an email list and they have a huge war chest. They come in with $20 or $30 million, and you're not allowed to raise any money until you register with the FEC, with the Federal Election Commission. So,
okay.
I announced my campaign, and I have no money in the bank. So, let's say I get 5,000 calls the next day. I want to help you. I got nobody to answer the phone. I don't have a phone because I'm not allowed to spend money until I register. And so we were really desperate for money at the outset. And a guy said, contacted me and said through a friend and said, I can get $10 million for you fast. And
Oh, dang.
I spent I met him in my hotel, and I
Was it like one of those consolidation credit card things?
No, it was just a guy who, he was an attorney who had a lot of clients.
Oh,
who
okay.
were
Private deal.
in industries, and he said, who would give me money? But they were industries that I really didn't want to take money from,
Yeah.
and and he left, and I just didn't. It just didn't feel. It felt like it just didn't feel right, and so I called the guy who had brought him in, and I just said, I can't do it. And I immediately felt like, yeah, that was the right decision.
Yeah.
And if we're supposed to win, we'll win. But whatever happens, at the end of this process, I'm going to have my integrity intact, and that's the only thing that really matters.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, that's cool, man. Your wife seems so proud of you. I saw you on Tiger Belly. I felt like
Oh.
she seems so proud of you. It seemed pretty cool.
That was wild, that show.
Yeah, I thought at first when I was all there, I was like, wow, this is a different world. But when you got to see you and your wife, and I just felt like, man, I could tell your wife just seemed real proud of you. Maybe she's also just a good actress, but she seems super
that might
proud of
be
you.
it, too.
Yeah.
She seems to love me, but I have to keep saying she's an actress. How do I know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah. One day she could just say "and
Yeah.
scene." Yeah.
And they and one of their guys looked at that badge and said, "That's too shiny.
Wow.
It's not a real badge." And so then he called somebody else who was armed,
Mhm.
and the two of them cornered him, and then they called the police, and they kept him in the corner. They didn't want to grab him because they didn't want to start a shootout. And they could see that he had shoulder holsters on.
Jeepers.
And so then the police came and arrested me. He was asking for me. Oh, he was looking for me, and he had two shoulder holsters that were fully loaded pistols, and then you can see that badge on his hip.
Yeah, he's badged up, huh?
Yeah, and then he also had a backpack that had another weapon in it, another gun.
Like a sword?
He also had knives on him.
Oh, man.
And he had a lot of extra magazines filled with ammunition. So he said afterwards, apparently his brother said, "Oh, he heard there was a job opening for security, but you don't go to a job opening for security with all those magazines and guns and knives and 2 to 3 pistols."
Yeah,
His
yeah,
brother who brought him there also was like an armory. So
Right.
they had a whole car filled with weapons.
Wow,
No,
jeepers
I have
creepers.
no idea. I don't know what he was looking for. I went hiking this morning with Tulsi Gabbard.
You went hiking with her?
Yeah, and I was asking her about her ethnic background, and she said she did 23. She actually did there's a TV show where they investigate your background.
Oh yeah, they do it with celebrities. I think Drew
Yeah.
Barrymore was on it.
Yeah, and she did that.
Oh, that's cool.
And they said that she had the most ethnically diverse background that they'd ever run into.
Wow.
She is part Samoan, so she's Polynesian.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And but then she's got everything else. She's got the whole, like every country in Europe.
I wish I could be Samoan. I wish I could be Mexican sometimes. Maybe next life,